Right now, we're living in a time where some of our childhood traditions, when it comes to parenting, have taken the back seat, especially if you're 40 years or older. On this episode, we're discussing a topic that I'm sure every parent has or will soon have to face. Join me and my co-host, along with some special guests, as we discuss teenage dating right here on The Next 15. You're listening to The Next 15, a 15-minute podcast show for the binge listener, covering random topics such as relationships, current news, and everyday life issues. My name is Trey North, and for the next 15 minutes, I hope to make you laugh, educate, and inspire you. Welcome to the Next 15 podcast show. This is Trey North on this Friday at 7 o'clock, and you know what time it is. It's a time for another hot episode, and we got one for you tonight. Thank you so much if you're tuning in live with us right now. We want to thank you so much, and if you are listening, please share with your friends and let them know that you're listening to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North and Chris McAllister. We're getting ready to talk about teenage dating. Yeah, at what age is it appropriate to start dating? What are the parents' responsibilities prior to letting the children date? How much freedom should be allowed during dating? All this and more right here on the Next 15. But first, let me go ahead and introduce my co-host, Chris McAllister, pastor of Life Changes Church here in Austin, Texas, and a father of four. What up, my man?
What's going on, man? It's always good to be back in the studio, back in the saddle. What's going on, everybody?
Yes, also we got Andrea Clark, mother of five. She got 4 girls, 1 boy, and she's been also on previous episodes like Family Matters, and she's made some appearances on, I believe, God versus Corona. Andrea, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
That's right. And so, yeah, tonight is teenage dating. That's our topic. Yeah, so we're going to just go ahead and, let me forget, Muddy. Yeah. We got a special guest coming in later on.
Absolutely.
On the second segment. We didn't tell everybody, so this is going to be a nice shocker right here.
Yeah.
So if you're tuning in, you definitely want to keep it locked right here at the Next 15 because we got a special guest, another guest host that's going to be with us tonight. But let's go ahead and let's dive into it. Let's go ahead and discuss, like, Andrea.
Yes.
You know, since you got the most kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what age is appropriate to start, for a teenager to start dating. What do you consider an appropriate age, if there's one?
For me, I think 16 should be appropriate age to want to date. 16 is where you showing responsibility. Okay. You're showing that you can apply to the rules. Yeah. Of course, for me, when my daughter was ready to date, it was 16, but it was actually right before her prom date. So, of course, you sit down, you meet the guy, sit down, talk to him, see if he's suitable, because parents tend to see if the person is good enough for their child.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now let me ask you that. Now, is that a mature 16? I personally think that's young. But let me ask you this. Okay, 16 for a girl. Girls are more mature than boys. Is that the same for a guy or for a boy at 16 years?
I think girls mature faster than guys do.
I agree with
that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So 16, it's interesting. I took a poll on Facebook and Instagram, and I did those little poll things that you can do, and 100% said that I asked when should it be appropriate to date, and I had 16 to 18 and they was like no. 100% said no.
Really?
Like 16, between 16 and 18.
They said no.
They said no. That surprised me.
Wow.
And versus your answer of 16. Wow. Because, I would think at 16 is, for me, I don't have any daughters.
Right.
But I do have 2 boys.
Uh-huh.
If I had a girl, no way, bro. 16, I'm not doing it. That's for me. What about you?
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. With my girls, like I had some mature girls. So they had boyfriends, and it really depends on what you consider dating. Because some kids be like, oh, I got a boyfriend, but you only see them at school. Like, y'all not going out on dates after school. So is that considered dating or not? So I'm like,
that's a fling.
Yeah.
That's a crush.
Yeah.
That's a crush.
Real talk. Real talk.
That's good. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But like 16, no, not really, bro.
For a girl.
For a girl.
This is going to sound so biased.
That's sexist.
That
Does sound sexist.
That is.
Man, like, how old is 16 really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But
I don't know, man. That's a little 16. So
16.
she was so how, okay, was she a mature 16?
She was a mature 16, good grades, not a troublemaker kid at all. So I figured 16 was suitable. So when I asked my other daughter, what's a suitable age? She told me 14.
14.
She told me 14. Only because when you 14, you're starting to get into high school. So that's when your crushes start.
So she was probably 14 when she told you 14?
She was 16 when she told me 14.
Yeah.
So I didn't agree with that.
I'm going to say negatory on the 14. It's just because at 14 years old, you're still making stupid kids mistakes. You know what I mean? Like, you still don't know your your multiplication table. Oh my God! Like, so I can't do. Yeah, 14. No, I'm gonna go no on that one for male and female.
I agree.
Right? I want to give a shout out to Juan Alaman. Thank you so much, man, for listening to the Next 15, and the Noise Radio Network is online. What up? Good to hear from y'all. Good to see y'all on the chat room, man. Check it out. So you think 16? Wow. See, if I had girls, no. Because that means if she's 60, this joker's probably 17 or 18. You almost a grown man. I don't know about that one.
No grown man going to be knocking on my door saying, I want to take your daughter out. No, that is not going to happen.
What up, Dre? I see you on Noise Radio Network.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hey, Miss Erica, I see you over here, girl.
So if you're just coming in on it, we're talking about teenage dating. And the first question we threw out there is, at what age was it appropriate for a teenager to date? And our guest co-host tonight, Andrea Clark, said 16.
16
was good. And you did you agree with that?
I mean, I would say yes. I mean, as a whole. But for mine, that'll be a no. Because again, some girls girls mature faster than boys, absolutely. But then there's some girls who mature faster than other girls.
That's true.
And just in the thought process, and responsibility. And so some girls grow up a little bit, having more responsibility at the house, so they can kind of have critical thinking down at that point. So at 16, I will say, yeah, for the most part. I mean, I was dating when I was 16, so.
Yeah, but you're a guy.
I know.
Yeah, you were 16. What were you?
I was dating 20-year-olds.
You're gigolo. Oh man, I tell you what. If you're in the chat room right now, go ahead and let us know what age do you think is appropriate for your child to begin dating. And while you do that, we're going to take a commercial break right quick, and then we'll come back and continue with our topic tonight, teenage dating, right here on the Next 15. This is Trey North. Thanks for tuning in tonight. If you're enjoying this podcast, please share with your friends right now so that they can join in on the fun. Log on to your favorite social media platform and let them know that you're listening live to the Next 15 podcast show. You're listening to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North on Spreaker.com. And we are back on the Next 15 podcast show. This is Trey North, and we're talking about teenage dating. The question that, if you just now tuning in, missed was what age was appropriate, and we asked some of our online listeners in the chat room, and Juan says 17 seems like a good age. Dre from the Noise Radio Network says 25. he has girls and they grown now. 25. That probably is me, Dre. I ain't gonna even lie to you, because I don't know. It is biased. It is biased when you have a guy versus a female.
Yeah, especially from a father's viewpoint. We're as dads, we always think the worst. So, you think about your girls, you think about your little babies, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we know what most guys want. So we're like, absolutely
not my baby girl.
Exactly.
Oh, man. So we're joining, if you're just tuning in, we're joining in with my co-host, Chris McAllister, and guest co-host, Andrea Clark. I told you a little bit earlier in the show that we had a surprise. And yes, we do. We have a big surprise. Everybody knows Pastor Chris is married.
Absolutely.
To his better half.
Yes.
And I know she's been sitting over there making faces, and she's ready. She's like the dogs on I Am Legend, ready to jump out. I want to introduce to you all co-pastor of Life Changers Church, Pastor Kimberly McAllister. Thank you for joining us. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me here.
Okay. So I see those faces.
Hey, baby.
Yes.
Now, she's a mother of 4. She's a nurse, a professor, a wife, a co-pastor, and she was on the guest. If you listen to our previous episode, she was on Why Do Women Cheat?
Yes.
Totally defending every woman in the building.
In the world.
Yes. I support each other.
She wasn't giving up nothing. But anyway,
not.
Pastor Kim, what are your comments on the age before we get into this teenage dating thing?
Okay.
Because, what do you think?
Well, first, I want to say I have a 16-year-old daughter, and no way for mine for 16. I will say that. Not for the one I have right now.
Right.
Yes. I would say 17 as in reference to legal-wise, because, they say you're technically grown at 17 now, isn't that what they say?
Oh,
17,
Yeah.
you're technically grown. So if you
Mm-hmm.
go out there and make a silly decision, bye, you can get your job and go on.
Right.
I wouldn't want my child to do that, but sometimes they got to learn. And I do kind of understand where the other person was saying, I can't remember, who was it, Wanders, who said 25?
No,
Who said
that
25?
that was Dre from the
Dre
Noise Radio
said
Network.
25.
Yeah.
I can kind of understand that as well. But the reason why I say that, I don't like to put children, and not children, I don't like to put teens or within the age thing to say whether they're able to date or not, because I believe it's more related to their critical thinking and how they handle things.
Okay.
And how they handle things in life, because every teenager is not the same. I don't think it has anything to do with the boy or the girl thing, in a sense. It's how you're able to handle yourself and what situations you're able to help handle yourself in.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Because I have a son
Yeah.
who, yes, he probably will not start dating until he's 25. Some things he needs to get together before he actually steps out there. And he is 18. He's not dating right now.
Right.
So as far as, like I said, girls-wise, I just wouldn't be more biased about that. It just depends on the teen
Yeah.
and what's going on.
So you mean-
because even my 20-something-year-old ones that I have,
So the level of maturity, you
Exactly.
would base it. So if one was ready at, let's just say 16,
Yes.
but the other one wasn't ready,
yeah,
then hey, you might have to wait till you 18.
technically, yes. And I would let them know why,
Or 21 or 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because our daughters, honestly, they really technically did not start dating till they were probably about 19 and 20.
20.
Was that because of you, or was that because of the rules of the house, or was that because their choice?
I believe it was because more of a relationship that they had with their father, with Chris. I believe because they had the relationship with him, he definitely showed them love, and they didn't feel like they had to go outside the house to go grab it.
Oh,
I think that's a lot of things.
Ooh,
too.
that's a good segue to this, because I was just about to ask, like, what are the what are the parents' responsibility
Exactly.
to prepare their teenager to start dating. That was actually my next. Yeah. So what is, let's talk about that, Andrea. What is the process, or what is the parent's responsibility during that process of teenage dating?
So your process, you want to, of course, talk to your child about dating, what to expect. You want to, of course, meet the person who they choose to date, and then depending on how serious it is, then you always want to meet the opposite parent.
Okay. I agree with that. I think that's a very good point. I would love to meet the parents prior to the dating, to my child dating, only because I want to see where's the apple falling from.
Exactly. Yeah.
I want to see if the parents are crazy, then there's a pretty good chance that you're crazy too. And I don't know if I want you.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Eventually will be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you can get a lot of intel, because my son, he's grown, him and his girlfriend, they're grown and they have a child together. Yeah. But she's very mature. And I met her before I met the parent. However, when I did meet the parent, I was like, oh, okay, I see where she gets her maturity from. She has a level-headed, mother, and her mother is just awesome, and the way, I'm like, oh, she had a good upbringing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, I think it's very important that those are filters, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, it's the same for me. My wife kind of alluded to it earlier, and to placate on what you were just saying, to the point of, I taught my daughters that, okay, you might like a boy, but look at what's going on in the household. So y'all might be talking, not necessarily dating, but look at what, okay, well, look at the father, look at the mother, look at what they talk about, listen to the conversation, because a guy will always show you where he's heading in conversation. So if you get him talking long enough, he'll tell you what he's looking for, inadvertently, sorry, I'm telling all the guys business, but that's usually how it happens. So I taught my girls how to conversate, talk, learn how to talk to a guy. We don't deal with a whole lot of emotions. So you speak facts, he'll speak facts back to you, and he'll let you know how, what he's looking for. And so my daughters would come to me with those kind of conversations. And so I think that kind of made them hold off on dating, because they started to see, the guys at their schools like, oh, my daughters come like, oh, Daddy, you said this, and that's exactly what he said, the same thing you said he was gonna say. I was like, that's just it. The game ain't changed, baby girl.
Right? Yeah.
What about you? What about you, Pastor Kim?
As far as what should be.
Yeah. You have anything to ask as far as on our responsibility? We talked about the filters.
Yeah.
But
I believe our responsibility would be as far as preparing them for the good, the bad, and the ugly when they get ready to go out and date.
Right.
What could be some things you could expect to see? Let's just be real. What things could happen between you and the guy, and then how to protect yourself, how to protect yourselves as far as, if things become intimate, things that happens. And also things to kind of let them know, pretty much take me a picture of his driver license and send it to me, please.
That was my wife.
Everything. I need to know everything, because I'm going to already take a picture of the car and the license plates before they drive off anyway. Yeah. But I want to equip them with everything they need to know and the knowledge, because I know that's one thing that I appreciate my grandmother doing, was giving me the knowledge that I need to know what to deal with whenever I got out there and did whatever I did as far as dating, because my girls have heard plenty of stories of what I know I did wrong and what I would recommend for them not to do.
Right.
Prepare them, equip them. Because believe me, when I heard the stories I heard from my grandmother and my dad, I used them. I remembered. So
yeah,
I think we should equip them mentally.
Yeah, I think those are conversations that we should have prior. Especially when they're showing an interest. But you mentioned one thing. I like what you said. Also, we had an episode about dating versus relationship. And I think I know when we were placating this, I feel like around the women, the girls, this conversation, but that's something also I feel like, you need to find out whether, is this, like she said, like Andrea said earlier, she said, is this a crush or are we dating? Where do we stand? So that, because, that first heartbreak, it's not too good.
And with that, like you said, define dating. Like people think like dating is different in different households. Like again in my household, like you ain't dating unless y'all went out somewhere together. Like you know what I mean? If y'all went to the movies, the park, or and all that good stuff. Unless that has happened, like we have our 16-year-old, and she quote unquote says she has a boyfriend. Right. Well, you've never been out with him, so he doesn't mean anything to me. You know what I mean? Like exactly
crush.
Yeah. That's a crush. Y'all talking on Snapchat or whatever may have you. I'm like, that's fine with me, but I've never met him. He's never met me. I've never seen him. In person. Y'all never went out together, so you guys are date. You guys are talking. You guys are chit-chatting at that point. That's not a date to me.
Hey, I like what you said. Since you brought that up, how much freedom should we give our teenagers in that process of dating? How do you feel about that, Andrea?
I'm not okay with that. But
well, I'm saying freedom.
I mean, you talking about like when they go out on a date, is a curfew or just?
I mean, what type of freedom? I mean, are you picking them up, taking them to the movies? Are you dropping them off? Are you sitting there with them at the movies or at the restaurant? I mean, what kind of freedom will they have?
So for me, when my daughter when she went out, she went to her prom. So of course he was driving, so I did not drive her, to the prom and pick her up, whatever. It was a trust issue thing with her. But the second date was a group date. So it wasn't individually because, when they left alone, certain things could lead to other things.
Right.
So I think group dating is more important than individual.
Really?
Than being with them not being left alone.
Okay.
So.
Okay. That's
I mean, I kind of agree with that. I mean, especially if we're talking 16,
or younger,
17 or younger. At that point, like it's not until you're 18 where the law, or 17 and 18 where the law says that you're grown, that I'll give you a little bit more freedom. But if you're 16, I'm going to be there. They'd be like, well, can we go to the movies? I'd be like, absolutely, we can. I'm going to put me in all of that. Because me and my wife, we did that every once in a while with some of our with our daughters. They would have a boyfriend and they would go to the movies. And me and Kimberly, okay, we'll go to the movies. I'm paying for it anyway, so I might as well go watch this movie.
Right?
So me and my wife would go, okay, we'll let them. I mean, we'll give them the space. They'll go to a movie. We'll go to the same movie theater. We might not see the same movie, but me and my wife would do those things, and it just showed. Some boys was like, "Man, your parents tripping." I was like, "Absolutely, sir."
Yep.
Oh man, that's crazy. Yeah. Hey, listeners, what do you got? What are your opinions? We love to hear from you. We're gonna. I don't want to go to a commercial break yet. I want to keep this thing going because is that all? I mean, is it just a chaperone or is it the? Do you track their phones? Do you? I mean, put that GPS on it or what?
Man, I mean, hey, listen. Here's the thing. Like, I think the guy there on the Noise Network said something in the chat.
Dre.
Dre said in the chat, when you're talking social media, man, like social media has changed the game in this dating world, man. And so, I tell, parents, I would say be very cautious of, and I say cautious to the fact of don't be surprised what you might find in your child's phone,
Whoopsies.
Especially if you're talking dating, like be prepared, that your lovable, sweet child might not be so lovable. It might not be so sweet, or they might be lovable but not sweet.
Innocent is the word.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, they might not be innocent. And so, we went down that road too, where
don't swipe left.
Don't swipe. Whatever.
Oh my God. Scary.
Whatever you do, don't swipe left.
God.
To the point where, oh my goodness, to the point where, that we had one of our daughters, on Tinder, like when it first came out
Ooh,
at 18.
really?
I'm like, what are you doing with a Tinder account?
Yeah.
Tinder.
Yeah, bro.
Isn't that for older?
You're right. Yeah. That's what we thought. You know?
Tinder.
Yeah. And so whatever you do as parents, stay savvy out here, guys. Stay up to date on what's going on, because these kids are tricky. They are tricky.
So let me ask you this. Okay, I hear the group dating thing, right? But that should be a process on Scattered the Frids too, because they all run in cliques.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
yeah. Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
They can be all sneaky, not just yours, but all of them jokers is sneaky.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So
They all lying for each other. Hey, well, tell your mom you're going to spend the night at my house.
Yeah.
And then, once we get over my house, then we're going to do this or this or that. So you got to be careful, too, who they hang around as
We did
well.
that in the 90s.
I got a question. Do they still do that because of social media that's out? Because,
Yes.
you could tell me that, and then I go on your Instagram page, and I see that you in Tijuana somewhere.
Yeah. you post a pic y'all took 2
You
weeks
forgot
ago.
you forgot to take off your locator.
Oh, man.
you in Club Ice.
Oh, no. Yeah.
You didn't even have on that when you left the house.
Right.
Right? Yep. Agreed.
Oh, so do we go into PI mode? Do we follow? Do we check in on them or drop in? I know this.
Yes. Yes. Until they are grown, they are not grown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you in my house, you gonna abide by my rules, and sometimes my rules get a little crazy. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes my
Agreed.
rules get a little crazy. I mean, one
Yeah.
time my daughter was so mad at me, I wouldn't let her go out because she forgot to wash the dishes, and so I I stopped the entire date just because she didn't wash the dishes.
Oh, she was on the date.
No, she was she was getting ready to go.
Oh.
Exactly.
He was pulling up.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, these dishes didn't get washed. I was just coming home from work, and my wife had just made it home, and the dishes didn't get washed. And she's like, well, I'll wash them when I get back. No, you're not.
Not today.
No, you're not. She was like, well, let me just wash them right now, then I can go. I was like, no, you're not. So, yeah, it's crazy.
It is.
Wow.
Agreed.
Let's see. Juan,
Yeah.
yeah. Juan says at 17, with the information that he had shared with our son, we trusted him to make good decisions. Now I realize it may not have been always the right decision, but overall it made us grow closer by giving that trust to him.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
Understood.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. I tell you what, we're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to open up our lines to those that are listening that might want to put their 2 cents in on this. I would love to hear from you listeners. If you want to, we're going to open up the lines in a little bit when we come back from the commercial break and discuss teenage dating right here on the Next 15.
Hey, family, this is Christopher McAllister, Senior Pastor of Life Changers Church here in the great city of Austin, Texas. And I am so excited to invite you to come experience change. Yeah, that's right, a change. A change in the way you think, a change in what motivates you, or even a change in how you perceive church. So come visit us on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. for an hour of power, either at our physical location at 15020 North I-35 Frontage Road, Austin, Texas, 78728, or on our website at lifechangersaustin.com. Or you can even catch us on our live stream on Facebook at LCC Austin. Yeah, that's right, LCC Austin. Isn't it about time you were a part of something different? Life Changers Church, where we're changing lives starting with ourselves. We'll see you real soon.
You're listening to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North right here on Spreaker.com. And we are back on the Next 15. Thank you so much. We're talking about teenage dating. We're getting ready to open up the phone lines. Thank you so much for all that are tuning in tonight. if you catching the mid part of this, go back and listen after the show at next15podcast.com or Spreaker.com. You can catch the show on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Facebook, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Don't forget to subscribe at next15podcast.com for your monthly newsletter, exclusive news, and bonus content. So we're in the studio with Andrea Clack and Pastor Kim McAllister, and of course my co-host Chris McAllister. We're getting ready to open up the phone lines at 512-827-9164. Again, that number is 512-827-9164. And if you're in the chat room, you can see that. Give us a call. We love to hear from you and hear what your comments and thoughts. So, excuse me, we're back talking about teenage dating. Yeah.
So yeah, man. I was gonna say something before we left.
Okay.
I went to commercial. I also think that when you start talking about teenage dating, I hate to say this, but sometimes on a different, how can I put it? Like different races think different things too.
Ooh.
Different races feel different ways in regards, because like I knew when I was growing up, I had a neighbor and they happened to be Caucasian, and they had a daughter that did start dating at 14, like going out on dates, and I'm like, 14? I looked at my mama. My mama looked at me cross-faced. She had her eyes crossed. Like, absolutely not. So that just made me think about that, Does anybody else experience that?
Not in no 14, no.
14?
No, that's kind of young.
Yeah.
Well, they're smoking cigarettes with the mom?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh,
But, I've seen that.
But it was kind of like that.
yeah. Even in high school, I noticed that there were a lot of different races who, besides African American, that seemed to have a lot more flexibility with allowing their kids to do more things than what we were able to do. I noticed I've seen, different races that were young women who were with child. So I know because you saw us, we probably got slapped. Really good. Yeah. Didn't want to go too detail in that, but it does matter. The races does matter on what they allow. Some people, some have traditions on what age they allow certain things to happen.
Yeah.
Compared to other races, I know, like I said, we probably would have got our teeth knocked out if we tried to date at 14.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not going to happen in our house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to add, for me, I would have to, you couldn't go on a date with my daughter or my son, I would say, until I meet you and you come over the house a few times and I see your behavior.
I got you.
Before I can trust you to go out here, you know what I mean? Out here to the movies or anywhere without adult supervision, especially being boys. I know we've been talking about girls, but my boys, I'm like, yo, keep it in the pants, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sorry, but I mean,
Yeah. Erica Vargas said 14 is way too young. They are still finding who they are at their age.
Yeah.
They just may.
Agree.
That's just her opinion on that too.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree
they
too.
Absolutely, I agree there, Miss Erica.
You can't even spell.
Right?
Barely spell at
I
14.
wasn't even ready at 18. I ain't gonna lie.
What you gonna talk about?
Right.
Like what you gonna talk about? Cartoons?
Right.
Right.
Like these
What happened at
Pokemon.
school?
Right? What's in your lunch today? Got some fruit roll-ups.
Oh God! If you got an
my
opinion, you guys call us at 512-827-9164. I would love to hear what what your opinions are. I appreciate all of you guys who are participating in the chat room, and if those who are not on Spreaker.com and just listening live right now, that number is 512-827-9164. We want to hear from you. We would love to hear what you have to offer tonight.
Right. I got another question for the ladies.
Okay.
What if your son brought home, vice versa? What if your daughters brought home like a guy? Let's just say they were 17. Okay, let's say they were 17. Your daughter's maybe not that mature, but the guy. Let me think about somebody in our area. Like he looked like Genuine. Would you? Would you let your daughter go with him?
To be honest with you, no, because I'm sure he got a lot of free passes already.
You are
So,
Yes.
no.
you are prejudging him.
Exactly.
No,
So
no,
that means
I know what the
looks
pretty
would not
boys
matter.
like.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I mean, come on. Yeah.
So-
I mean,
so-
come on now. No.
Okay, so
Pretty boy.
so
I'm
okay,
sorry.
I mean, you want to bring him somebody that's toe up in the face? That don't
No,
look good?
you don't. But you know, because I don't have time for my daughter to get hypnotized by his good looks. You know,
Okay.
look, I'm just saying because sometimes good looks will make you do things you got no business doing.
Oh, come on. So he got to bring somebody that looks less than? I mean,
Well, I mean, I'm just saying.
At some point, you're going to be a
I mean, I
grandmother.
couldn't trust me if I was 16 or whatever, 17, and somebody I went on a date with somebody with looking like Genuine.
Genuine. I
I
got
mean,
you.
come on, the grown folks be doing stuff in
Wait.
concerts, throwing pants.
I gotta
Just
read
saying.
this. Check it out. Erica says at 14, they're still switching snacks at lunch at that age.
That's what I'm talking about. Fruit roll up,
Yep.
Gushers. Yes,
Oh
exactly.
my God. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
hilarious.
Lunchables, all that kind of stuff.
So okay, so then
So wait a minute. Let me get back to this.
yeah,
So a pretty boy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, so if he was maybe a heavy set boy, maybe less attractive, or you deem as less attractive, it'd be cool. Because at the same expense, she still brought him home, or she's still dating him. So it's something she's
Right.
seeing him, whether he's pretty or not. Now, so now where are you, Andrea? Now, where are you at on that?
Come on.
You wrong for that one.
Yeah. A heavy set. Maybe he's a nerd. Maybe he's into his books.
Yeah.
So if he's educational, then yeah, size don't matter. But if she come home with Genuine, then you got to worry about all these other
Well, he
girls
could be
running behind him.
no, because he could be a nerd too.
He can be a nerd. He can be a good man.
A good looking nerd.
But how,
A good looking nerd with a big
Okay.
old heart. So
Yeah, but how's this nerd dressing?
that's important too.
What you mean?
I'm sorry, but you know what? Being beautiful is a curse and a blessing at the same time. I'm just saying, come on now. If I'm talking about a Genuine.
That's
I
the
mean, I'm
reason
saying.
That's the reason why I asked, because like, okay, that's from the women. Like, Trey, let's talk. Like, if your son brought home somebody that looked like Beyonce or whatever,
High five, nigga.
like
Oh, here we go.
Sorry.
We went there. Oh, goodness.
No, listen.
Man.
Listen. Okay. I'm going to answer that.
yeah.
Well done, son.
Okay. Keep it in the pants.
I'm
son.
just saying. I mean, if he
Yes.
if he brought a Beyonce home, first of all, I'd be like, what's her mama looking like?
Right.
Are you kidding me?
That's a
Really?
man's response.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
It is high fives. I'm like,
Right.
Dre, Noise Radio Network. Dre says, hey, high fives. You right. I mean, come on now. I mean, look, you bringing in something on the same level as my wife, you know what I'm saying? Or better
Right.
than, like you said in the last episode,
Yes.
you was talking about if your son brought home, he got to bring on something at least.
On the same
level or
of
better.
or better than his mom.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
the task.
I mean, who I mean, come on now. We all want that pretty girl. So now, your son, I'm gonna switch it. Y'all son bring home a Beyonce. Is it cool since you?
I'm not gonna lie. The first thing I probably would say, she fast. Forgive me, I'm being old fashioned, but I'll be like, that skirt a little bit too short. But you know,
Judgmental.
I agree.
I'm just gonna be real. You know, I'll be like, what is she looking for? Why do you want my son? He look like Goof Troop. I mean, what is it? Let's just be real.
Oh my God.
Tyrese.
I agree. I
Okay,
agree.
right?
Yes.
Right? What you
My-
searching for, girl?
My wife just put my son out there.
Tyrese, if you're listening, your mother loves you.
Oh, I do.
Oh, but he does look
Andrea?
like Goof Troop.
I agree with Pastor Kim. Hands down.
I mean, so they can't bring nobody that look
They can't
good.
bring-
I mean, she's not a bad looking chick or nothing, but for my son and you, no.
So wait a minute, you saying your son ain't? I mean, your son can't pull nothing like that. Come on now.
He can pull something, but her come knocking on my door. That's some question marks.
What you mean?
What you
Okay.
want?
What
my
question?
son?
What question
Yes.
marks then?
So would you rather have the Beyonce or what's the lady name?
Respucia?
Oh
No, we ain't doing
because
Respucia.
like there's the Beyonce, kind of the classy,
Okay.
beautiful woman.
Okay.
Then you have the opposite, which nothing against this lady, but what's her name? The Stallion that everybody doing that challenge on. That lady,
Okay.
you know, or Cardi B. Like, which one would you rather have, the Beyonce at your door or the Cardi B?
I'm kind of confused.
So out of them three, I would take the Beyonce.
Right.
Out of them three.
Okay,
But one of Beyonce's the hidden fast
right.
one.
She's
And the Cardi B is really the nerd.
right. She's
well, the
looking for
Beyonce
she's
would
got-
be the
but-
prettier one. You know. Ooh,
Well, no,
I'm saying.
Cardi
Just
B is
saying.
cute to me. But
Well,
anyway,
she is.
okay,
You know.
okay, check it out. So, I mean, because now, see, you're judging based on the looks. The genuine guy could be the goof troop versus the ugly boy that might can pull them all. You know what I'm saying? And can, get up in there.
But you can kind of tell also by them pheromones too when they walk in your house about what they are about. You know what I mean? If you
Body
look like
language.
a genuine, you can tell if he's a nerd, a genuine, or you can tell him that if he's a fresh genuine, and how he respect me and how he talk to me and how he talks to my daughter.
right.
So I'd be like,
But
something's up with that one right there.
But part of that's game. One Alaman said this. He says you have to realize that there is something in the person that your child sees, even if for a week or two they'll eventually see it. You right on that one.
He said even if a week or two they see it.
They see it. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. You what you deem as good looking or bad looking, like the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So she could be bringing home what you think might be the toe up dude from the flow up, or vice versa, and that be the one she just falls in love with.
Yeah. But
I didn't waste these 9
like
months for
my
nothing.
kid. But here's the thing, my kids, like my wife said, for my son, nothing against my son, like, but there's a quality. There's a quality factor.
Gotta weigh this thing
Touche.
out.
Yeah, there's a quality
What
factor.
are you getting out of this, girl?
Lord, like exactly. Like there's a reason why you're talking to my son when I know for a fact you could do better.
I mean,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Is this like the thing when they had like Nick Cannon and Christine Milian?
Milian? Oh,
Like,
yeah.
why are you talking to my
It's
son?
like, are you only talking to my son because he's doing your tests? Like
what's going on? Is this a bet?
right?
Don't be humiliating my son, girl.
Yeah, touche.
You don't know who mama is.
But that's a bad one because he had Christina Milian and then he had Mariah.
Yeah, not no more. He
Well,
had.
and
Yeah,
they
had.
they both left. You ain't about that.
Yeah, just saying.
It's all good until they find out that you can't read.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
what are you referring to somebody else? Correct?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm referring to Nick Cannon
Oh,
at that point.
oh, got you. Sorry.
Juan says intelligent guys have been getting over on parents for years.
Exactly.
It's the old Eddie Haskell trick.
Oh,
Treat them nice, then go after their daughter.
yes, that's what they do.
Hey,
Eddie Haskell, he's absolutely right.
That's why you don't trust
Hey,
them.
see, there you go. That is true. Because I
Yeah,
know
come on.
people. Okay, I have done it. I have in my younger years. I knew how to charm the mother. You know what I'm saying? I charmed the mom and the pops. I mean, I
You get out
Yeah.
there and that
got
bad
ghost.
boy.
I got ghost out there. You know what I'm saying? After it didn't work out.
Right.
I'll say it like that.
Okay.
It didn't work out.
I got you.
It didn't work
Okay.
out.
I
You know,
got
church
Oh,
boy.
my
Yeah,
gosh.
Radio Dre says church boy here. Yeah, them the ones you gotta watch out for too.
Yeah, you do. I'm one
Them
of them, Dre.
PKs, them PKs.
I'm one of them, Dre. Listen, I mean, I'm good with speaking on my wrongdoings. Back in my day, I was a pastor's son, and I used that to the full extent of my ability. So
Yeah.
pray for me.
And he played the drums too, so all the girls in the church was looking at him.
Touche.
He was doing the Lord's work.
Yeah, but the
And
other
every
ones
mo-
was doing the
and
Lord's
every-
work with their eyes.
And every woman in there, every chick in there was loving it.
I know they were. They
Yeah.
weren't even. They couldn't even keep their mind focused on Jesus. They was too busy looking at him.
Yeah, when me and Kimberly was started dating, I took her to this one. We went to this one church in East Texas. It was a big church, Baptist church, and I think we argued all the way home just because of every girl in there knew me. I'm like, how is that my fault? That I was like, I'm the drummer. I tried to pass that on her. She wouldn't believe in it.
It kind of felt like being at a basketball game and Curry gets done playing, and these women keep walking up to him talking, and his wife is over there. It's like, move.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, a lot of girls kept coming up there to him at the church. It's like, it's all about me.
Wow. Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
So, what if your child brings home the same sex? Would y'all be okay with allowing them to date the same sex?
Well, you went there, didn't you?
That is a great question.
The pastors are not touching that one.
No, I'm definitely touching that one. I'm definitely touching that one. So we're talking teenage dating. So the answer is absolutely not, because you're in my house and we have a standard of rules in my house. That doesn't mean that that doesn't mean that we're going to stop loving you, but you're still under my house. When you get grown, it is upon you to make the decision. I'll love you for you, but I still disagree with that type of lifestyle, but I will not judge. I judge the character of a person, and in that regard. So as a teenager, hypothetically, if my son came to me right now at 18 years old and says, "Hey, Dad, I love another guy," I'm gonna be like, well, it's time for you to move.
Oh, well.
It is. I mean, I love you. You can always come and we can do, Father's Day, Christmas, Mother's Day, Easter. You can do all of that, but you will get a hotel because you won't be doing anything in my house, bro.
Oh, goodness. I would like to elaborate on that. In this time and days, when it comes to what you just said, I would have to ask, are you just jumping in a boat because everybody else is? Because now it's more acceptable today. And there's a lot of young people who think that it's just always okay. I'm going to do this anyway. It's always okay to do this and do that. It's like, it's not put out there like you should, it should be an opposite sex. I don't judge, but at the same point in time that, like I said, they make it like it's always okay, and that it's the norm today, and that's what you should do,
right? And
it does influence, and they show it so much more on TV. They do it more in school. Right. It's more open, and a lot of people are now saying, it's okay to do this and to do that. But it's like, are you really wanting the same sex? Or are you just doing this because you see other people doing it?
Right. Or are you doing it because nobody wants you of the opposite
exactly sex? Do you feel like you're being rejected? We had to deal with a situation before, where there was a child that kept getting rejected, and they were like, well, boys don't like me, so I'm going to go to a girl. And that happens quite a bit, and it kind of makes a lot of times females, sometimes they feel like, I just kind of, since they don't like me as a girl, well, maybe I look better as a guy. They kind of start trying to transition to, wearing other clothes, at times, maybe I don't want to dress like a girl. Maybe I don't want to look like a girl. Maybe I don't want to put on makeup because a boy's not going to look at me anyway. Right. That's just my opinion on that part. Didn't mean to go too deep.
But is it acceptable at 17? That's the question, I believe.
I think it depends on how open, kind of like you said, what the moral the values are of the house are. Yeah. Because some parents may not have a problem with the same sex dating. I mean, I'm just saying, I mean, we're now in the age to think it's flipped. Remember, before you come, it was back in the day, you wouldn't come out the closet. In my day, so many people hidden in the closet. Yes. Like we see you in there. Come on out of there. You know what I'm saying? But
doing everything.
But I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, I mean, now it's more, like you said, it's more acceptable now. So some parents may feel like, hey, I'm going to let my child make their own choices in life, who they want to be with, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. That was a good question.
Yeah, that was a really good question.
A lot of them are confused. I will tell you that. A lot of them are confused.
At that
and
age,
the thing is that they're not, to me, I know puberty is past 12, but to me, I definitely know I wasn't fully developed at 17. I didn't have my mind correctly straight at 17. So I'll have to say that some of them these days, they're a little bit confused. Not all of them.
Yes, I agree.
Is that because of social media? Is that because everybody here grew up with TV. We had TV, and even TV at that point didn't push it as far as you see it now with, for some reason, every show on Netflix has to have, a gay couple or a gay best friend.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, every show on Hulu,
You're right.
Netflix, HBO. And so is it because, again, that society has made it so acceptable?
Yeah, of course.
That's the only thing I have, because I think a lot of us didn't grow up that way because we didn't see it.
Well, it was frowned upon, first of all.
Yeah, touche.
Again, it was frowned upon. And then now you have, with this openness, you know what I mean? Now it's regular. This is the new, being in the LGBT community, it's a norm.
Right.
It's almost like it's a norm now. It's no longer hidden. Yeah. And I mean, I understand to a certain degree, hey, rather be out there than closed in. But there's one thing too, we have to be careful as parents too, is if our children do decide to go that way, we don't want to lose them either.
We do not. Right. We do not.
You know what I'm saying? So we don't want to lose them. We do want to love on them.
Yes.
We do, like you said, I love you. I don't agree with your lifestyle, your choice of lifestyle.
Right.
However, especially if they're young at that age.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, because you can totally, that can go left. That can go somewhere else and you lose your child. Yeah.
You can.
And I've even heard some people say they've known majority of all their life that they were. Like, I've always known. Yeah. Like, I've always known since I was 10 years old, 11 and 12, that I was wanting the opposite sex. So
I've heard
some of them do know what they want, but some of them, like I said, some of them are confused, I think, because it's way more acceptable, and it's like it's put out, okay, this is okay, do this.
Right.
Give these kids time to grow up before you throw that out there at them.
Or they're just experimenting.
Yeah.
That's
like
we wasn't in a science lab like that all the time, so no,
and that's so crazy. Like I didn't even have to deal with that until I got to college, when I started seeing people. I'm like, oh, gross. Okay.
Right.
But I mean, in our day and time, it wasn't until I was in college. Now, you have, I remember we had the conversation with our youngest girl who's 16, and this is maybe 3 years ago when we had this conversation with her, with one of her friends. She was like, oh yeah, she's, full blown gay. She got a girlfriend. I'm like you're in middle school.
Oh yeah. I remember that.
But I think sometimes it falls on the parents. Kids mimic what they see. So if they see they parent with the same sex in the household, then the kid's gonna think, oh, it's okay. Like, okay, mama, you calling two women mama, and are you calling two dudes daddy? So the child is actually confused.
Yeah.
That's another show.
So
I tell you what, we're going to take a commercial break. We're going to wrap it up with our closing comments regarding teenage dating. Thank you so much for listening in, and we'll be right back on the next 15. Hi, this is Trey North, and I wanted to let you know about the Next 15, an all-new podcast show designed specifically for the binge listener, covering random and sometimes off-the-cuff topics such as relationships, current news, and everyday life issues. This podcast show is interactive, which means you can participate during our live episodes via chat room or podcast line. That's right, you can call in and be a part of my live podcast show. So tune in on Friday nights at 7 p.m. live on Spreaker.com or Next15podcast.com. And if you missed the live show, you can catch up by tuning in on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Before I go, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Next15Podcast. Or you can go to Next15podcast.com and subscribe to get upcoming news, unreleased contents, and our monthly newsletter. This is Trey North, and I'll see you on the Next 15. You're listening to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North right here on Spreaker.com. And we are back with the topic teenage dating. If you're just coming in at the end of it, go back and listen to it. We're going to wrap it up right here on the Next 15. But before we go, we love to give our closing comments about this topic. Any closing comments, Andrea? We'll go ahead and start with you. Your closing comments.
When it comes to teen dating, I don't think it's not a right or wrong answer for a certain age. It's just having the right rules to follow through with it.
All right. Pastor Kim?
On my end, when I think about the teenage dating, I would say you just provide your children with the full package that they need to be able to be productive when they go out there to date.
Okay.
Give them what they need to give them the survival kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, same sentiments as my wife is have the conversation. All these kids now have their own thought process because of social media, and be willing to challenge what they see. I believe, and I'm a testament to it as a father of 3 daughters. They see one thing outside the house, and then they see another thing inside the house, and let them be the judge of which one they want to carry out.
That's good, man. Yeah, my closing comment would be basically a conglomerate of what you all said, but also just give them the knowledge before they go out there. I think there should be a certain level of trust that we do give our children, especially, if they've shown and proven that over time. We don't want to just baby them. They don't like being pressured or feeling like the baby. When they get to that point of dating, then they're feeling like a young adult at this point. And we just have to just feed them information, and we have to also, as parents, be good examples. Give them an example in the household. How we act is very important, especially if you're married with your spouse. Because you want your children, basically, if you're living a good life and you're showing your kids the example, then they'll reflect on that and maybe not be apt to take something less than that comes their way. So that's my final comment. You got something, Chris?
Oh yeah, man. I just wanted to give a shout out to all our listeners, man, that were in the chat today. Miss Erica Vargas, Dre there at the Noise Radio Network, Juan Alamon. Thank you so very much. He's always on, man. We really love you. Thank you for listening. Jacqueline Hammett, thank you for listening and tuning in, man. I think that's most people that I've seen that was in the chat on speak.
All right. Yeah. So thank y'all for listening in to Teenage Dating. This was a great episode. I thank you all for Andrea Clark for taking the time in to come into the studio, and Pastor Kim for blessing us with your presence here.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
Of course, my guest, not my guest, he's my co-host, Chris Mack. As always, man, I appreciate it. And guys, we thank you so much. If you like what you heard tonight, go ahead and share it on your Facebook, all your social media platforms. You can catch us on at Next 15 Podcast on both Instagram and Facebook. So we thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the Next 15.